Appearance on Dion's Daily Dose does not imply endorsement from or by any candidate or guest. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by Dion Bergeron or Dion's Daily Dose are his own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of any guest. Material and information presented is for general information purposes only. The Dion's Daily Dose name in all forms and abbreviations are the property of its owners, and its use does not imply endorsement of or opposition to any specific organization, product, or service. If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose.
All right. Good evening, everybody. So, unfortunately, I was not able to attend the budget meeting in person. However, we were able to watch the entirety of it, and there were definitely some interesting things. There were some very surprising takeaways from it. I'm just going to jump right into it. So, first of all, I do want to offer my apologies that this took so long to kind of get back going. I wanted to do this earlier. However, I was experiencing some technical difficulties. I believe, fingers crossed, I believe that we've gotten those ironed out, at least these. So we're just going to jump right in. The lit hearing. Several people spoke up against the proposed lit increase. I want to talk about a group, though, real quick called it's MC Squared AG. It's Michigan City Conservative Action Group. Michigan City Conservative, MC Squared AG. It's cute. But it's a group of adults in Michigan City who don't believe that the city or county is headed the way that they want. They would like to see some changes. And rather than just sitting around complaining about it, these men and women are actively taking steps to make that happen. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but I do want to say that you guys should check them out. They meet every Thursday at Sugar Bowl at 8 a.m. Sugar Bowl in Michigan City, the restaurant there on 20 by Chris's Car Care. I recommend you check them out. Fantastic group of guys and gals, great people. Check them out, MC Squared AG. But several of their members came up and voiced their opposition to it. As a matter of fact, everyone who spoke, including Mayor Tom Dermody, voiced their disapproval of this. We're going to get into the video here shortly, but Jim Marseille came up, Tom Dermody, Al Stevens, who, by the way, Al Stevens passed out pencil sharpeners and told the county council members that they should get to work sharpening their pencils. Interestingly enough, also, Councilman Novak decided that that would be a good time for him to insinuate that Al stole said pencils from children. Stay classy. Novak made the snide remark. Ray Maloney from MC Squared AG talked about cutting costs and being the poster child for low taxes. Bill Newton, Frank Maisley, which Frank Maisley made a good point. He said he's a disabled veteran and he served his country for 20 years. And now he's being priced out of his home. The gentleman from the group brought up the fact that, and I didn't know this until I got with these guys, Trail Creek, their property taxes skyrocketed, guys, like 13% overall. A 65% increase to the value of the land. Something seems shady. That's all I'm saying. I don't know if it is, but they met with a lot of different people, and that's what I mean by these guys. Instead of just talking, they're actively doing stuff. They met with legislators. They met with a bunch of people, and they're making things happen. But it was some really good information that was shared. Tim Stabos, former auditor, he actually made Randy big mad. He pointed out the faults of the previous council, the lack of financial accountability, and he showed how the council has consistently failed to address concerns and embrace transparency. New members accepted, of course. One interesting thing, Novak said, for the last 5 years, the Republicans have controlled the council and the commission. So I'm just curious, when they made you president, was that the Republicans being in control? Genuinely curious there. As a matter of fact, we're going to skip ahead here to the 50-minute mark, because after that, it was Commissioner Joe Haney who came up, and he had some interesting things to say.
Services. I share multiple concerns with any tax dedicated levy.
Well, it's just going to have to be difficult, isn't it? I'll get it here working in a second. Okay, it's going to be difficult. We'll get it fixed. But he pointed out that all of this thing is a gigantic shell game. What does that mean? Well, with the last lit increase, they said, give us money so we can pay our first responders, sheriff, etc. So we did. The LaPorte County as a whole was overwhelmingly in favor of more money for our first responders. But what happened was the county council took that money and paid some budget items with it. And yes, part of it made its way. But what he means is they're going to fulfill budget shortfalls with this money. And how much of that is actually going to make it to EMS if the tax even happens, right? The tax increase even happens. All right. I think it stops stuttering.
Tax at this moment, at this time, a mere 3 years after 3 of you sitting here voted to raise the income tax by over 50%.
Now, this is former auditor Tim Stabos, who made some great points. I highly recommend you check out the whole thing, but I know maybe we haven't fixed all the issues.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Looks like we're still getting the same signal issue.
I just want to point out, the only thing I got to say is, for the last 5 years, the Republicans have controlled the council and the commission. So to sit here and think that 2 people are responsible for that, the Republicans have been in control of the council for the last 5 years. So
now, Commissioner Haney points something out, and that is the shell game. I think it's worth listening to all of his comments, so I'm going to play them. But he does point out that for 4 of the 5 previous years, Randy Novak was the president of the council.
Any other members of the public? Good evening again, Councilman. Joe Haney, LaPorte County Commissioner, again before you. Shortly, you're going to be considering this new tax, a dedicated levy to fund our emergency medical services. I share multiple concerns with any tax increase, especially amid the economic hardships that are facing our taxpayers currently, from rising costs, stagnant wages, and family budgets being stretched thin. I do, however, recognize the tough spot the state legislature has put municipalities in by slashing funding, and I do hope that they're going to take a second look at this in the upcoming sessions. My biggest worry, though, is, as Auditor Rosenbaum recently described it at a former council meeting, is another, quote, shell game. With so many new faces on the council since the last tax hike a couple of years ago, it's worth recalling a few of those shortcomings. Mm-hmm. I warned back when the public safety local income tax was first proposed that it might shift funds rather than add true new resources. And under former council president Novak's leadership, that's exactly what happened. Instead of adding new tax dollars fueling fresh public safety investments, large chunks of it were used to cover existing bills, freeing general fund money then for non-safety purposes. Our EMS deserves better. We need infrastructure upgrades at our Michigan City base, as well as Wanata, new ambulances, which certainly are not coming down in price, and competitive wages to retain our exceptional EMTs and paramedics. We also need to increase those salaries to be able to attract fresh new talent to reduce the overtime burnout that some of our staff are experiencing. If you approve this EMS tax, I implore you, include ironclad language to avoid past mistakes. Mandate that every dollar raised creates new spending, firewalled directly for new EMS enhancements, and with transparent reporting to ensure that we're properly reinvesting into the best service in Indiana. I thank you for your consideration on this, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you. I'll just reiterate, the Republicans have been in charge for the last 5 years. So to sit here and insinuate that one person up here has control, you know better than that, Joe. So tell the truth. 5 years. 5 years. Control.
Mr. Councilman, for 5 of the last 6 years, you were council president, correct? 5 of the last 6 years, you were council president?
4 of the last, I think 4 of the last 5.
Oh, no, only 4 of the last 5 years I was president. But, okay. Okay, so, again, if you guys want to watch the whole thing, by all means, you should, but not everybody has, what is it, an hour and a half almost. So, personally, now, for entertainment purposes only, my opinion, methinks he doth protest too much. They got into the discussion of this. Yagelski agreed that he needed to cut. He claims that he voted no constantly on budget things, along with Earl Cunningham. Claims he and Cunningham constantly voted to cut things. I don't know. I didn't watch all of the council meetings. I'm not sure of his voting record. Maybe you guys can tell me. But he says that he'll vote no because he meant it all along. Justin Keel, which I'd like to say, guys, I'm going to show you a clip at the end. It is absolutely astonishing to me how hostile the council is to Justin when he's just trying to be transparent for the public. Councilman Keel at the end of this specifically says, for the public, just so they understand what's going on, Mark Yagelski does like this. Novak's like, ugh. Why are you guys so against transparency? Why are you so against someone who is willing to break it down for the people who don't know how this works? They're talking about just reading the title. Not everybody knows that doesn't mean they're just passing it without looking at it. Justin tries to get that across, and what does he get? A bunch of sass. Anyway, Justin took lots of notes. He says he wants an efficiency study. Why? Because constantly they're talking about cutting the budget, but where can we cut it to where it's not going to affect the services that we currently get? Where can we slash it so that we don't have to raise taxes? He wants to include serious changes. And one interesting part says there's no mention of why this was even introduced. We didn't even know about this. Let's see if I can find this.
Keeping up with inflation, and that's how we get behind. And then there's a perception that we're making huge jumps, but in reality, we went sometimes 15 years without increasing fees, which isn't really a good way to run.
Yeah, there are some definite things that can be said where fees have to increase. Raises have to be given. Things have to happen.
Business. No other business is going 15 years without raising their fees. And then I think there is a question about, should we be going with a full 0.2% increase, or should we be looking at something less as a starting point, if at all? So I'd like to see before the next meeting a revised ordinance that incorporates some of these, so that if we should raise the income tax, there's some serious changes that actually happen to make sure that we're making cuts in the future. The challenge of this is making cuts fast enough. If we were to not do any increase at all, making changes fast enough in order to keep the budget working for next year is going to be incredibly challenging.
And that's a great point. And it's mentioned later as well. Rosenbaum mentions, you guys haven't cut anything. So in order, which going to get to this, but Rosenbaum is actually the one who put this on there. He's the one who actually came up with the idea of raising the lit tax. Keep that in mind. But point is, he goes, you guys haven't cut anything. So we can't operate. We're looking at I think it's like a $5 million deficiency. So if that's the case, then where's the money going to come from?
But I mean, there's 7 of us. I would like to hear if there's members in favor of the lit. We should share those reasons with people. We didn't really have an introduction about why this is even being considered in the first place, aside from in previous meetings when it was mentioned.
Because it was thrown at us. That this was not introduced by any council member here. This was thrown at us. So yes, I didn't have the information either. I was questioned by the public. I go, I have no idea what you're talking about.
And I think that's really important. The council itself did not say, let's raise the lit.
Yes, I totally agree with you. Did you know about it? Well, neither did I.
The details are not.
They were not there.
They materialized more recently.
I could agree with you more.
Mr. Novak.
So I just want to,
Listen to this.
when we had to do the public safety lit prior, as Mayor Tom mentioned and Councilman Yagowski mentioned, there was a big charge put on the mayor to go around to all the different cities and towns to make sure that this is exactly what the county wanted and everybody supported this. I would strongly urge that we do something similar to that and possibly, and this came out at a LEAP meeting the other day too, is possibly have a meeting with all the leaders in LaPorte County of the cities, towns, and different things. Because with everything that's happened with Senate Bill 1 and all the changes that are happening, it's going to be, Michigan City puts in a wheel tax. LaPorte already has a wheel tax. You know, we put in a public safety lit. Now we're looking at doing an EMS lit. And then Long Beach, because they're opening it up, different towns, everybody can add it. So it's going to be all over the road. We need to come together as a county and look at this to make sure we're doing what's best that we need to do with the minimal impact on our citizens. So I would strongly urge that we pause on this and with the lit tax, and I do not support it because I think we need to do what we did before and do our due diligence to make sure that it's right.
Okay. It sounds really good. And maybe that's exactly what he means. But this is what I heard, right? He doesn't support it, but instead suggests getting together to figure it out. So, in other words, or in effect, possibly, let's figure out how to slice this pie so that everyone gets a piece. The total tax is capped by the Senate. In other words, only so much can go out. There's only a X amount that is available. The Senate, I think it was the Senate, capped it. There's a maximum. So obviously, in my opinion, Novak wants to ensure that, one, he's on record stating the words, I'm against this, while still making sure it's not off the table, just passed around it. President Karanka says an efficiency study is needed. Where can we cut? If we only rely on attrition, which is something that was brought up before, it was actually, I forgot, good old Steve, Commissioner Steve. He stated that he believes, all of a sudden, by the way, that, which is a different thing than he was saying before, that we shouldn't cut government jobs. We should let them attrition out. In other words, when people retire or get fired, then at that point, we should decide not to fill the position versus just eliminating things. That way, nobody loses their job. Bear in mind, the public loses jobs all the time. And I could say more about that, but it's unnecessary. Efficiency studies needed. Where can we cut? If we only rely on attrition, like Steve said, we disproportionately have older people retiring, etc. And then Brett Kessler said something about being an extension with Purdue and something about people taking on multiple roles. I'm not entirely sure what he was talking about, but I think he's just saying, let's do more with less, which I'm not opposed to. Councilman Keel said, if the lit is not approved, how are we going to meet the proposed raises? The email from Rosenbaum lays out over $2 million for that purpose from the lit. But if it isn't approved, if we do not approve this lit, where does that money come from? And by the way, that's exactly what Commissioner Haney was talking about. It's a gigantic shell game. Pressel Jr. said, put it off. Mollenauer, put it off. He's in favor of paying to have a study. If the study says something we don't like, still have to do it. If they recommend cuts, we have to implement them. Study, put it off as long as possible. There have to be cuts. They all know there have to be cuts. Now, I'm going to jump ahead to our auditor, 10642, because this is interesting. And it does tie into what I said earlier about where this originated.
That day.
Yep.
Right. Mr. Otter, you were asking for time.
First of all, I started this conversation back in June about needing this because we would need serious cuts. I also saw the fact that some things were under budgeted in the past, and that's noted in that email. One of them being payroll taxes went perf, and now you have medical insurance that was under budgeted by $1 million, and now the additional medical insurance is at $1,014,000 more than it was the year before.
Okay, so what I heard is personnel matters are being under budgeted. In other words, medical insurance under budgeted, and it went over budget. So is that also, or one or the other? You can draw your own conclusions there as to why that is. I think we should take a look at the personnel department, but that's just me. There's an interesting quote coming up that.
So these are some of the facts that I shared with you. You kind of put us here in the situation because we didn't cut. And the best way to be able to pay for these things was this was the only option that was available to us. So this is also a 2-year plan. Gives us time to do a study. Gives you time to take action on that study. And in the year 2027 for 2028, there's a whole new ball game. This doesn't stay the way it is. So this completely changes. And so while we wait for the legislature to see if they're going to make any additional changes, this is the only way out for this council, because to move 5.1 million back into the budget, not have money to do any work on any of the enhances that we need to do, not being able to buy an ambulance without borrowing money, not being able to redo the Michigan City or the Wanata facilities for EMS without borrowing money. And this is a $3 a week thing for the next 2 weeks for families.
Did you hear that? $3 a week for the next 2 weeks. I think he meant to say next 2 years, because he is talking about it. Took me a second. I'm like, wait, what? But it's only $3 a week, guys.
And this is a $3 a week thing for the next 2 weeks for families. So while we're here, we'd have to take other serious cuts. And I'll be happy to take the pencil sharpener, sharpen the pencil, and tell you where we can make cuts. But we've also suffered that we've been limited to 4% increases for the last several years, and that I was on the council too. Meanwhile, inflation was higher, but the worst part is that people weren't following inflation. Our vendors were charging us 5% more every year. So you do that for 6 years, and now you're up 30%, and that's not even compounded. Okay, so you're not up 24%, you're up 30%. So now you're already up higher. And this happened across the board. So sometimes we gave big raises. My information of what study I got that information from the auditor's office.
Okay, so he goes in, and look, guys, this is my opinion. All of what I play for you, right? That's fact. You can hear it directly from them. He goes in and talks about, oh, the information I got was from the auditor. He's trying to throw shade at the previous auditor. He proceeds to blame the council that he was on for not making cuts then he admits he was on the council, but he doesn't take responsibility. Again, in my opinion, for entertainment purposes only, allegedly. Blames the vendors and everyone else but himself. But, and this is a big but, to defend Rosenbaum for just a moment, the auditor does not set the budget. He can make recommendations like he's doing now. Just because the auditor makes a recommendation, that doesn't mean they have to do it. They certainly ignored Tim Stabos when he suggested they meet with the treasurer, Joey Wensky, the current deputy auditor. God knows why, but moving ahead just a little bit. Matter of fact, I'll just let the rest of this play.
So I could throw stuff right back at somebody. I don't want to do that, but that's where the information came from, because I had no other resource of information to make that decision or that thought pattern. I thought it was already in the budget for 5%, and thinking that another 5% might have been eligible, but then other people started adding 15% and other things. Anyway.
He's rambling. What he's talking about are the raises. Mr. Stabos had mentioned, you guys gave 10% raises that the money wasn't there for. And that's what he's talking about.
We talked about, we have been talking with all the different departments on trying different ways to save money and to go and review their fees. This is not a conversation that you might not know about. So this discussion's been going on with other departments. There was an earlier thing that you, the president, Mr. Karanka, went and spoke with Juvenile Service Center to really start digging into how they were, what their funds were. And we need to follow up on that. We need to continue those types of things that you said. And
I agree wholeheartedly that we need to follow up with these departments and find out where their money is being spent and why. And as a matter of fact, Doug Beege, which is the guy sitting just next to the auditor, he is the attorney for the county council. He makes some phenomenal points coming up. I didn't really know much about this guy. I still don't know much about him, but I got a little man crush on him, at least just a little bit, because some of the stuff that he says, just spot on coming up.
We need to be able to look and get information to see what money is coming in and what money we need to help pay to provide those services. And is there other ways to get money? We're constantly seeking grants, but going out there and getting me a $500 grant for one of our departments, it costs us more to administer it than the $500 that they got. So we've got to be smart about what we're doing. So, so we're at a crossroads tonight about.
Anyway, blah, blah, blah. More of the same. 110.42 is where, right here. Come on. There we go.
Mr. Attorney.
I usually try not to comment, but I want to echo Mr. Molinar's comments. We've had study after study, bridge studies, bypassed the decade I sat here before. They all got shelved. They all got just thrown in the box. And I'm not exaggerating. The great multitude, the study was done, the money was spent, and nothing happened.
Yep.
Okay.
So go ahead and I'll finish.
Second point I want to make. The decade I sat here before, you'd have department heads come and want to contract work out. Okay? It'll save us money. It'll save us staff.
Yeah, listen to this.
All those contracts, all those years, Mark, you remember, and I never saw a cut once. So the county started spending money to have contractors do work that staff used to do.
Yeah.
And none of the staff ever got cut. We just spent more money.
Yeah.
I'm saying that to the newer councilmen because I don't think you're aware that went on for so long. And I think it's still.
Which, by the way, our new auditor created yet another position in the auditor's office so that people could do the work he's supposed to be doing, allegedly.
Was to an extent.
Yep. So I'm going to ask for advice.
Mr. Novak looks very grumpy. I don't know if he is, but he looks very angry. Anyway, they go on to talk about, can we do this? Can we have a study done? Can we actually agree to implement what the study says? Yagelski wants to appoint people to do this study. Everybody else kind of says, let's all do this. Let's not have one or two people doing this. So we're going to jump ahead to, there's a motion on the floor and Adam's going to explain it.
Feasible, where the numbers don't work.
If the numbers don't work, there'll be serious conversations over the next week
Right.
with DLGF.
Okay.
Please keep us in the loop on those.
But I implore you
Been
to,
on it.
Yeah, I'm going to add something before. Now, Mr. Dermody went around because we were requesting, and I was on the council, so I can say we really wanted to know that each of these people, each of these taxing authorities that were going to receive money really wanted it. So you're the only taxing authority on this one. There's nobody else. So if you want to share and you want to have a meeting with other people, that's fine. But this is the only people benefiting this is the county.
But they're all going to pay.
And again, these tax cuts should have taken place in the last several months. We've had enough meetings for that.
We didn't ask for it.
All right.
And I think that's interesting. I'm not sure who said that, but I think it's very interesting that the auditor is pushing, you're the only people that matter when it comes to making this decision, because you're the only one that's going to benefit from it. And someone said, we didn't ask for this. I didn't catch who it was. Props to them if they were talking about this whole thing. But we're coming up on the motion.
So there's a motion on the floor, and I'm going to try to summarize this as best I can within a minute. That we have a council purview consultant do an efficiency study where it's a scope of work is derived by the entire council during a workshop or other meeting. And we capture that report and act accordingly. And there was something you mentioned about the auditor, Mr. Keel, and I want to make sure
Yeah,
I
and that we're
capture
requesting the
properly.
auditor bring us some firms with prior work experience that's related to this.
Okay.
I think that's fair.
And that the council will follow the recommendation of the
And the council will follow the recommendation.
good, the bad, the ugly.
All right.
Huh?
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. So
Okay, so they passed the resolution basically stating that, okay, we're going to have a study done. We're all going to be a part of it, and we're going to follow what they say. Okay, all right, I'm not opposed to that. The attorney, Mr. BG, did agree that no study like this had been previously done.
now we have a discussion related to a first reading of an ordinance, or are we moving on?
Okay, listen.
I think we read it.
That's what I'm entertaining.
I'm really bring it up, make a motion to read the ordinance as
Title only.
title only.
Title only.
Second.
Motion second to read by title only.
There we go.
Yeah, so for the public's sake, can we explain?
Okay, I want you guys to pay close attention to the expressions from, as a matter of fact, I'm going to move myself down to the bottom here so you can see, of Mr. Novak and Mr. Yagelski in particular.
We're reading this into the record, so it's being introduced. And what does that mean? Say,
What
can
does
we
that-
explain, we're reading this into the record, so it's being introduced. And what does that mean then next?
So
We have to decide, vote that you do one thing first, then you do the second thing next.
It's a public hearing and then
what you do.
just read the ordinance.
we have
That's how
to,
it works.
Yeah, if you
No
do,
decisions are made.
yeah,
and
if
then
you do a
goes to the
first
next
reading
meeting.
tonight, that will keep the calendar rolling. Okay,
So it is
we've
it's
got
preserving
deadlines
the
by which we have to
optionality
do
of
things.
passing a lit in
So
the
you-
yeah,
future.
nothing's passed,
Nothing's
but it just keeps the deadlines on
would-
time.
You would need to have a majority tonight to keep it alive, and then it can be killed if that's what you so choose
We're- there-
to do at the next meeting.
There's no vote tonight. So there's no
On the
majority.
first
It's just,
reading, there's a vote.
no, well,
Mr. Attorney.
I don't agree. You
Okay.
you do a first reading and you vote
Okay,
on
then
the
we'll do
second
it that
one.
way.
Right.
Right.
That's what we did on the other two. I mean, unless you want to, we can Stick it now.
So Doug, you weren't quite clear up here. Are you saying on vote for
You
first
could just do
reading?
the first reading. You don't have to take a vote on it. You can vote with that you want the first reading, and then that's it. We're done. And that won't, what I don't want to happen is you guys discuss this further, decide we want to do this, and now we've blown all our timelines. Nothing's passed tonight, and we can still stay on track with their timeline.
That's really important to remember. There is nothing was passed. No tax increase, no change, no nothing. But watch, when all Justin's trying to do is to let the public know, hey guys, here's what's happening. We're not actually passing anything. Because people can see, hey, they all voted yes, or it moved forward. What does that mean? Are my taxes going up? There was a poor lady at the beginning who came up for public comment. And she's like, I heard our taxes were going up 20%. And they said, no, it's 0.2%. But this is how misinformation is spread. And a lot of people don't do it intentionally. They see the 20. Maybe they didn't see the decimal point. 20%. Oh my God. Unfortunately, the percentage of the lit that is increasing is more than that.
I'm agreeing. Whether I'm going to vote for it or not has nothing to do with it. We got to follow the timelines.
I'm correct.
I got a second yet. No.
I'll second Mr. Yagelski's motion.
All right.
I already
So,
seconded.
Yeah, you know, back.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So
No, it was
we're good.
Yeah.
Now, remember, Novak had seconded it already.
Didn't hear it. You were too far away from the microphone.
So I have a motion by Mr. Yagelski and a second by Mr. Novak and Mr. Kessler to read by title only. Any further discussion, Mr. Keel?
Under the discussion, I want to be really clear about what we're doing, because it will, if all 7 of us vote aye to this, it's going to look like we're moving forward with it. This is purely preserving timelines. It's not necessarily
Title only is all.
Yes,
That's all it is.
but we're
not
preserving
voting.
the optionality that a
voting.
tax could be passed later,
Not
and that's
voting.
it.
Look at these people. Oh my God. All Justin is trying to do is to inform the it frustrates me so much to see just the level of disrespect from someone actively trying to preserve transparency, for someone actively working for we the people. Look at this. Look, this is just, it's disgusting.
Important distinction.
We're not voting.
To read something by title only is.
If we were to do nothing,
And it's first reading.
and correct me if I'm wrong, if we do nothing, then it's
Correct.
dead and it cannot proceed. If we do the first reading, it could proceed in 10 days and we could pass a lit.
Correct.
So I just want people to know exactly, like, some people will walk away and think it's still alive and it
I'll
won't
withdraw my
pass.
second.
I'm not doing
Got my second.
I'm-
so
I
we're
don't,
good.
I
I'm not
don't agree. I don't agree with you if all they're doing is reading a document.
We haven't got that far. You got to do this as a process. I don't get you guys that are messing this all up. We have to do it's a process.
And stick it.
Title only is only the. Thank you.
Yeah.
Nobody's messing anything up. All he's doing is explaining to we the people.
It's ridiculous.
Robert's rules.
All right.
Now
So I
listen,
have a motion by Mr. Yagelski and a second by Mr. Kessler. All in favor of reading by title only signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Mr. Auditor?
Ordinance 2025-10, ordinance modifying local income tax rates, LaPorte County.
Okay. Thank you.
Randy wanted to be on record because if you guys may or may not know this, he's being tapped for Pat Boy's seat. Pat Boy is retiring, has retired, and so she endorsed Randy. This way he can be on record for his last vote being nay. Come on, man. You literally seconded it just a moment before. There's a reason why there are new faces on the council, and there's a reason why Novak is not council president anymore. There's a reason why Joe trounced him in the last election. Just saying. Nothing was passed tonight. We are going to keep a very close eye on this, and we are going to bring it straight to you. Not everybody has the time to watch these meetings in their entirety. I understand that. One thing about LaPorte County that I think is interesting that we may want to consider is we don't have a purchasing agreement protocol here, which means that multiple offices can buy the same goods and pay vastly different prices. Now, the opposition to this has said, how do we do this and keep it from becoming political? How do we get a purchasing agent and, for example, keep a rogue commissioner from filling it with the person of their choice? I don't have the answer to that at this time, but apparently Lake County, it's one of the few things Lake County does correctly. Lake County does have an excellent purchasing agreement protocol, and it's something that maybe we should look into. All right, guys, that's it. Half the time, but now you know what's going on. We're losing Justin. Justin is moving on. He will not be seeking re-election, and his seat is up. I'm going to miss him personally. Justin is very concise, very intelligent, and he's better than this, man. We can't hold him back forever. He's going to go on, I believe, to some really great things. I'm personally going to miss him because I think he's probably the single most transparent person up there and has done wonders for making these people, I guess, come to grips with the reality of being a council and having to make budget decisions and having to it's sad, guys. It's really, really sad that he's leaving us, but I suspect we're going to see him on a lot bigger stage in the future. I think it's only a matter of time before these guys pass a tax increase. One of the things that I've noticed is we consistently see government growing, but we have to tighten our belts because of higher prices, because of higher taxes, because of the government constantly coming in and wanting more and more and more. It's time that they tighten their belts. One of the points that was made, I don't remember exactly who said it, but one of the points that was made earlier tonight was technology was touted. I think it was actually I think it was Mr. Stabos. He was talking about technology was touted as cost cutting, right? Using this to improve that. We've spent all this money on tech, but we're not seeing a reduction. We're not seeing a commensurate reduction in either staff or cost for the county. It's all the same. We just spend more. So hopefully this will be a wake-up call for the council and they can get together and go, all right, what are we cutting? And they can start slashing some stuff. It's unfortunate that it's necessary, but at the same time, not really, because I'm all in favor of much smaller government. That's it for me. Hope you guys found this informative. And whether you agree or disagree, I think we can have a discussion about it. I'm always willing to talk about it. And maybe you have a different viewpoint. Let me know in the comments. See you soon. God bless you. God bless Indiana. And God bless the United States of America. Good night.
If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose. This has been Dion's Daily Dose, hosted by Dion Bergeron. Executive producers, Sean Holgram and Michael Beebe. Copyright 2024. Dion's Daily Dose, all rights reserved.